That's right, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations, the HD version on Nintendo Switch. I'm still on episode 3, Recipe for Turnabout, and I'm going to conclude this trial today. I didn't get the chance to do it yesterday, but I'm going to be doing this today. Okie dokie, everything seems ready. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt, that was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You'd better get going to defend and see. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal! Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh, you look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. It's what we found in the kitchen of the restaurant. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. We thought it was the poison at the time. There's a small bottle that turned up in Tribulations' kitchen a couple of days ago. Wow, look at all these little bottles. Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many, they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either. And it doesn't smell. We finally got the analysis result back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears, you mean? Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? I think I have an idea. Found covered in unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen. I think I know whose fingerprints they're going to be. The French dude. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... that's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? Well, I expect that those... fingerprints results are going to come in during the trial, but that I have to wait to use it until I've had them, so as to make a maximum impact on them with the piece of evidence. Anyway, today's trial, I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good, then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder in the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with its right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godo. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Ha! Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godo. Don't let mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. Got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles. The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well, let the first witness take the stand. Oh no. Please. Not him. And you are? Oh, bonjour everyone! I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Tribulations restaurant. Enchanté. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh la la, monsieur! As you can see, I am la perte and perky gentleman, no? On the day of the incident, you were in Tremia's kitchen. Isn't that right? With you, monsieur. Everything feels right. Ha! Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well, your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tremia. Oui, volontiers. When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco that day, like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no? Mirror? Oui, un grand mirror, la enormous mirror. And suddenly the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. Well, it does explain everything if there was a mirror. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay, when it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco that day, like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. La cup, la earpiece, and the glasses, he would have seen everything in reverse, no? Hold on. Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse? Oui, hey Nick, we should take a second and think about what old CD said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again? But that's actually what I was trying to remember. But because it was yesterday, I had already forgotten. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. When he was right about that part, everything would have been in reverse. If he saw everything he described perfectly in the mirror, then everything he said saw on the left was actually on the right. And that clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess, or does it? It's kinda hard to believe everything is the fault of a mirror, but do you think old CD saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony we just gotta dig deeper. Wait, didn't he give me a poem or something? No, that wasn't it. It was another one. Or at least I thought so. I know, okay. I thought we had a poem describing this, but the coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. Well, he really was wearing them on the... on his left ear. But he's got it wrong about how the cup was being held. And then the guy says, oh yeah, but that's because he was seeing it through a mirror. But no, if he saw it through a mirror, then the earpiece and the glass of his counter, I like calling it that way because that's what it resembles the most to me, would have been on the right and not the left. So to summarize, we're told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement, you see, monsieur. Now that you think about it, it is not so hard, no? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order! Order! Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim is reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. Objection! How bitter. Try it. You should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume. I broke the vase, sorry, apology, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly, the old man has one very grievous habit other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg? Clearly it's the victim's eyepiece, and that's my point, the old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both in his left ear. His left ear. Well, that's what he said, yeah? Ha, well tried. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was old CD for a minute there. Kudo's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was responsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court, we're all ears. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at la plans of the restaurant. Of la restaurant. Alors, is everyone sitting comfortably? La mirror was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is only one seat which you could have seen an image of la victim. That was the seat at the table next to la victim. That was where the old man was sitting. He would be W then. After a terrible incident occurred, I moved la mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. So he says anyway. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, at confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up except for the guy breaking out in the cold sweat over there again. I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volontiers, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please. La mirror was in the middle of the restaurant dividing the two halves. There is only one seat from which you could have seen an image of la victime. That was the seat at the table next to la victime. That was where the old man was sitting. Let me have a look at that plan again. And the mirror would have been in the middle then. After that terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way, but naturally I did not touch anything else. Yeah, but is it really from where he saw it, though? And where would that be? Oh la la, look how you lean towards me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. It attracts the older ones too, you know, and some. Shall I tease you too? I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. I bet she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Yeah, I will tell you, there was only one seat from which you could have seen. That was the seat at the table next to the victim. That was where the old man was sitting. So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? Mais monsieur, it is obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. Yeah, but somehow I doubt that this is true, because otherwise my client is in trouble. Excuse me. La victim would have been reflected in a mirror like so. If you were sitting at that table next to him, you would see everything, no? So that's the seat old Seedy was sitting in on that day, when the poisoning happened. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim. Why does that seem kinda odd? It does seem a bit odd, but I don't know why. Okay, well, I didn't mean to press on that one, but might as well get some more information. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Oui, exactement. I carried it out of la restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? Well, he is pretty strong. What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome. Kudo actually laughed at something. Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, no? You sure you didn't touch anything else? I touched nothing except the mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match a crime scene? Well, yes, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Oh, I have just the thing for that. An oil with golden myrrh and Frankensteins. Add a few drops to your coffee and voila, enjoy. Yeah, that was Godot saying that, not the French guy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. It is pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about the really large mirror up until now, yeah. You'd think someone would have, but Maggie didn't, and neither did old Seedy. Then the only logical explanation, that there was no mirror inside Tribia that day, but I have to prove it. Yeah. This is what I doubt is true. Yeah, look at this. If he was really sitting there on that table on the left, the vase would be broken, right? Unless it got replaced, but no, he wouldn't have had time since the victim is on that photo. It's not a photo that was taken like a lot later, and the crime scene wouldn't have been touched, I would expect. Yeah, do shoot. It's present that I wanted to do. Hold on, bear with me. Ah, crap. I went too far. Yeah, right here. Yeah, that can't be true. The vase is supposed to have been broken. Your Honor, Mr. Kudo's words yesterday strongly contradict Mr. Armstrong's testimony. This is the letter of apology that was written by Mr. Kudo, is it not? I realize it looks useless, Your Honor, but this is still testimony. Ha! I guess useless people are only really good at identifying useless things. What relevance does this scrap of paper have to the trial, Mr. Wright? Mr. Kudo's testimony is actually very relevant to the question at hand, Your Honor, because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. The crime photo. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist. Ha! Sounds like you're describing yourself, Wright. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. I'm gonna have to show it. What is the something that should not exist in this photo? That the vase being upright like this instead of being spilled or knocked over. There is one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting, and yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not in fact sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. There was never any mirror. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror at trivia that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu! Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. No, he was busy moving the mirror, he said. Unfortunately, Mr. Kudo, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we'll return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which she couldn't hear? Ha! You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth I can feel it. Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us. There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor.
The reason behind all the contradiction in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple.
The victim was a phony. The ear doctor made a mistake. Mr. Kudo made a mistake. Maybe the ear doctor made a mistake. I mean, or maybe Ah, yeah, that's what they mean, I guess, by the victim was a phony. Like, he never needed the medication at all to begin with. Yeah, but they did find some medicine inside this here canal, they said. That seems a bit far-fetched.
I mean, this one makes more sense, but it doesn't help my case at all.
I doubt that they would have made a mistake. I mean, that wouldn't lead anywhere. I don't know where this is going. Why you would fake that, but this case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. He was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake.
Completely grasping at straws there.
That's why I saved before trying to pick that one. We'll see where it goes. Order in the court. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trite, are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes, someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Hold on. Is it possible then that the guy pretended to be dead before Mr. Kudo? Then Kudo went out to call the police from a payphone. Meanwhile, they changed the victim, the victim's body, the fake one, the phony one, let's say, by a real one.
Objection.
But no, that's not possible because if he was already dead, that would have the autopsy report would have shown it, right? Like he died like at a different time. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about is in his testimony was the serving girl brought him a veggiamacino, but she put something in it. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but there was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Objection.
Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but it's also true that the chief was there. He would have noticed what was happening. He's in on it! That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Oh la la, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there in fact a phony at Tremia that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. He's gonna lie again. The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Oui. La victime, Monsieur L, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won la lottery, Monsieur Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. Now there was no time for a phony to do the acting. I'm not so sure that it qualifies as an excuse. Anyway. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon, forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later.
Oui.
For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please. He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing you'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Effective, Monsieur L, qui came to my restaurant alone. Was he alone at his table as well?
Mais oui, I saw him from the kitchen.
Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears that there was another man at the victim's table. Ha! Unfortunately for you, Trite, yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. My old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct?
Oui, he comes often for my special coffee.
I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience.
Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You are most welcome anytime.
I said it was worth one sip and nothing more. So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived?
Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur.
I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived.
So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 10 past 2 p.m., no? Just after 2, huh?
Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful.
I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony.
Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you.
Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself.
I remember the old man arrived not long after him, just after 2 p.m.
Hold on a minute. It's not in his testimony now that they mentioned the fact that he won the lottery. Yeah, no, there we are.
When he got word he won la lottery, Monsieur L became very excited.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's see. The radio program is at 1:30 p.m. and then was there the whole time after all. But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too? She felt unconscious when the incident occurred. Remember? You mean that's when the phony stages act? We'll know for sure once I find a hole in this testimony. Yeah, that one. Because if it was 2:25, right, in the autopsy report. But according to him, the murder would have happened at 1:35. Yeah. It does say here that it was between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. So yeah, I'm not quite sure actually that whether that was the right thing or not. It seems so since the music stopped, but I'm afraid I've finally got you, Mr. Armstrong.
Quoi? What do you mean?
At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. Then the show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning number of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Or whatever. Oui, that must be la show Monsieur Elk was listening to. I can't see any problem with its testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You said the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Ah, yeah, that's what he said indeed, yeah. Oui, I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, right, if you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now, supposedly the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There is only one conclusion we can draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elks in trivia that day. The real Glen Elk now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elk acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy? Objection! Quite a performance, right? You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony elk is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Glen Elk is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time the real Glen Elk was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion. I think you tried. That is exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elk, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Arrgh! The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, right? Yeah. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? I thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. Elk concealed? My idea is that, it would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Trivia. Yeah, the guy is in on it, so I'm already pretty sure of it by now. Interesting. As a judge. But where could a body have been hidden inside the restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Trivia is... Well, this is where the cases of medicine were. The body was in here. I see. Nice position. But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? This is what led me to think about it. Can you excuse me a few minutes? Well, or just 1 minute or two anyway. I have to pee. Okie dokie. I'm back. Right. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle?
No, I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use la very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me.
Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulations.
Eh? Quoi? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils.
Maybe you didn't even know that it was in there. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elk visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match a prescription that was given to Mr. Elk. Bruh! Glenn Elk's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Mon Dieu!
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hit the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. Order! Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elk?
Never, I could not do such a horrible thing.
No! Oh, Godot. Mr. Godot? The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear with my age-deficient friend?
Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out.
It is a trap.
Listen to me. Por favor.
That's not French. Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. Por favor. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it?
No, absolutely no. I
Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel.
Oui, it is clear.
What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me.
You were forced? By who?
I cannot say, or I will be erased.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at his table?
There was another man.
I knew it! Maggie was telling the truth! You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer.
It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice.
Did you carry the body by yourself?
Oui, I carried him and I carried Maggie too.
Maggie too?
When she saw la victim collapse, she fainted. I could not keep her there.
But why did you hide the bodies?
A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse.
Tell us the name of that man. What man? Who was he?
No, I cannot say. I fear for my life.
He's really scared. You just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him. But why would he... What? Well, whatever.
I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse.
And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong?
You know, monsieur.
Yes?
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment.
A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too vague. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason, so I'll just have to prove it with evidence. Well, there is that. That's the reason. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you? $500,000? Is this true, Mr. Armstrong?
Oui, je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed la money.
This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. What? Computer virus made by Glenn Elk. What should I A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Oui, it is as you say.
Mr. Armstrong.
La Tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried la body and la inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. Not sure if still unsure if I pronounced it right, by the way, that one, but... I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well?
No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it, I was not. It is despicable.
Mr. Godo, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. Well, don't tell me you had already arranged for it, for that. 30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand, not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, try it. No one knows if that chip is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godo. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Yeah. I didn't quite have it there. I want my bottle of water. Hold on. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won, Nick. I wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godo picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. Yeah, the other guy could and probably will deny everything. You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case making evidence we're going to need. Hey pal, maybe we have it now, the fingerprints, right? Yeah, at first, I had assumed that, that the fingerprints on the medication for the ear canal of the victim would have Mr. Armstrong's fingerprints on it, because I thought it was his kleptomaniac tendencies that meant he took the bottle, he stole it, and then took it to the kitchen for some reason. But now I'm not so sure. Maybe it's gonna be Furio Tigre's fingerprints on it. What are you so jumpy about, detective? Your hair is standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Top Knot. It's not a top knot. Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I kinda get wound up. Arr! No kidding. You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed for you if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour. You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? Take that! If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this? Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah, I think it's time we solved the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me, too. Small bottle given to Detective Gumshoe. So, I can sort of predict how I'm gonna predict how I think that it's going to unfold. He's gonna pretend that he didn't even know the victim or something like that. And then Furio Tigre's fingerprints are going to be on the bottle. And, well, that bottle will tie him, not only knowing the victim, but possibly being in a restaurant on that day as well, despite perhaps pretending to the contrary. We'll see how it goes, but I think this is how it's going to go. Okay, I'll get this up to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godo, did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem. Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively, but be careful, he still bites. Very well, please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. He doesn't seem to be very happy to be here. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Ah! Don't hide under the table, Maya, unless there is room for me down there too. Would you mind? What you say to me? Nothing, I didn't say nothing, honest. Who could have guessed that fear would induce the back Brooklyn accent in the judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spikey? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor? Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me. Just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it. We're doomed. You didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What do you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law.
He's totally unfazed, this guy. He's kind of cool, actually.
And I'm the one that holds you in.
Too cool. Even Phoenix says so.
Don't let him get the better of you, Nick.
She's still under the table.
Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct?
Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, mass boy.
You mean they didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird?
Maggie who? I've got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas.
Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder.
Phoenix right. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You're gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur, you hear what I'm saying? Well, maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today.
Get a grip, Nick.
I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from Tender Lender every single day. You just want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta.
I am pretty sure she would confirm it. Just to defend you. At last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, please.
Arrgh!
What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that.
I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. Lowlife ain't no lawyer, he just punches away at stupid details till he wins.
Lowlife? Me?
Listen up, Smarty, every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000 and you just gotta borrow the cash from me.
That's one little contract I refuse to sign.
And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with a tiger.
I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute, that's really not... This witness is, how can I put it, a hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here.
You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus.
Yeah, he doesn't have a scooter anymore, does he? The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Okay, so I can't press where I'm not supposed to, huh? Which I would expect would mean that where I'm supposed to press should appear a bit more obvious than under normal circumstances. Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would you, Maya?
I don't know nothing about no murder.
Yeah, let me save, perhaps. I don't buy that you haven't even heard of the incident that occurred at Tremia.
You's got a big mouth, right? You's trying to say I wasn't some mob hit? Is that what you're trying to say? With your proof, then.
Evidence, yes. Well, for an attorney to make an accusation in court, you must have evidence. That's from Loan Shark to Lawyer, a beginner's guide.
Yeah.
Ah, I see you're the studious type, Mr. Tigre. Very good. Ha. Why don't you ask him to represent you sometime, Trite? What should I do? I don't dare press it any further. It's too dangerous to press things without knowing where they might end up. I'd better just focus on gathering information at the moment. Now then, Mr. Tigre, would you mind repeating your testimony from the beginning, please?
My time ain't free, you hear? You's better remember that. If I miss that bus, someone's gonna pay.
Oh, he's gonna start over from the beginning every time? Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know?
See these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is.
Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini?
She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says. So that's where I was.
It seems like a rather, sketchy schedule. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what? That sounds like something that maybe I should press on, but... Before I go any further, I should probably back off.
What yous want?
If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
Objection!
This is a dead end, right, and you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree. The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe you wasn't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Actually, yeah, he says, hi RNG. Yeah, it's a bit exceptional, but I decided to stream today, yeah. Because I was a bit bummed that I didn't get to finish this case yesterday, and since I had a slightly quieter Monday than usual, then I decided that I might as well just stream tonight. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Yeah, I was gonna say, he says he knows nothing about the murder, but now he says he didn't know the young guy. Mr. Tigray, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. The day he was talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before. How does he know that it was a kid that got killed? I have to show something that shows that he knew the kid. Or that he knew that it was a kid, so he's obviously lying about not knowing anything about a murder. That the powdered poison bears Maggie's fingerprints found in her apron pocket. Meet with the tiger. Ah yeah, there we have it. You knew the kid. Mr. Tigray, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger, and the date, December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tigray, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg, because of the very day of the incident you met with him. Not bad. He's actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with you to see how good you were. You were under oath. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. He's calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing? So you're saying that your claim to have never seen that kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You better believe that's the truth. Ha. Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigray. Oh yes, would you mind indulging the court witness? You never actually met the victim. That's got to be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. The victim, Glenn Elg. I ain't no liar. I never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wanting to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, Tenderlander. I waited around for him, but he ain't ever showed. I ain't never even been to that trivia joint you here. That's... Does the calendar say where he was supposed to have that meeting with him? Yeah, obviously it doesn't say so. I see, that all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but they didn't show up. Where did you have that arrangement, then, if it wasn't at the restaurant? I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you. Right. The victim, Glenn Elg. I ain't no liar. I never met Glenn Elk. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with a guy at my office. Ah, yeah, he says that it was at his office. Hold on. Maybe I should press here. See, our meeting wasn't supposed to be at Tribulations then. Why would I want to go to a dump like that? If I want to talk with my clients, I got an office decked out for the job. I got the best punching bag you ever saw in there. Not exactly a professional office you've got there, do you know? So you were in your office a day in question. I waited around for him, but he ain't ever showed. He didn't show up? Ha, what do you think, Trite? Let's see, how does a dead man get from a French restaurant to a loan shark's office? And you yourself didn't go to Tribulations? What are you trying to pin on me here? Why don't you just come down to my office? We can chat about this thing my way, yeah. I got the best punching bag you ever saw in there. No need, I'm good, thanks. Listen up, I ain't got nothing more to say except this. But didn't I... Yeah, I found that in his office. Let's be safe before I present this, but I think this is it. I got proof that you've already been there. Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What you talking about? We found them in your office at Tenderlander. From that restaurant. You've really never been to Tribulations before. What was the book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, was guy. What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. Order! Order! Well, witness. I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry, I'm terribly sorry, forgive me. I ain't no pussycat, and don't go back on what I said, but okay. I was at the joint that day. What? Listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Yeah, he's gonna rectify his testimony as many times as it takes, as long as nobody is going to force him to tell the truth. Well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glenn Elk that day, and he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop's sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. Yeah, he went from saying that he had never met the kid to, oh yeah, I saw him, but he was already dead when I saw him, and blah blah blah, and didn't know anything about the murder, but now he says that he just witnessed the dead body. I see, you didn't actually meet with him in the end then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Hold it, if I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions. No problem. Anytime Trite presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since you's banned. Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? Oops, hold on. Let me say, because since I can't press on anything irrelevant, I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. Hold on with the picture.
Sure, I can't really see. Is there a partition behind him between the table at which he was sitting and the door, or was there not? I got the floor plans. Yes, there is a partition. So if he opened the door, he couldn't have seen it. Crap. Maybe I should have shown the floor plans instead. Shit. Well, I should have tried to present the other one. An ugly scene, what do you mean? The witness has already told us, right, which makes that question irrelevant. But I limit myself to 17 cups of coffee during a trial. That's the rule. You better limit the number of times you take a penalty, right? Or your guts will look like the inside of a chimney, ashen. Don't make me burn you again, Mr. Wright. Hey, I got a penalty for this. I can't even press. Hold on then. I'll try the floor plans instead. The music stopped, so I must be onto something. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. And no one escapes the phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, Trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning? These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre. From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. There's a partition he couldn't have. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Well, and not just between the tables either, since here it's more like between the cash register and the counter where the cash register is and the table where the victim was sitting. Why, that's true. Now, look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. He couldn't have seen it. So from the entrance of Tremia, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him.
Objection!
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glenn Elk, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glenn Elg and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Mr. Kudo? They seem to have some... I mean... The tiger seemed to be a lot bigger than Glenn Elg, so... The difference would have been pretty obvious. Although, I guess since he's wearing a hat, then... his spiky hair could have been hidden under there. In that case, Mr. Wright revealed the identity of this criminal to the court. Well, there is only one person who it could have been. Nah, not him. Him. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness. Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. So I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts? You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright! Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone.
Ha. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Godo! Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't see just the victim. Oh, no, no, no. Serving girl brought in Javachino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She's very conspicuously put some very white powder in there. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the witness who, very impressive, Mr. Godo. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Ha. And then he just reappears. Found your pen at last, right? It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenn Elg, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright. I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenn Elg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? That's what I've been saying all along. The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? I've been saying all along that she had something to do with it. That it was her you saw from behind in that artwork that you saw just before. Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadavarini. She's an employee of Tendolander. You're making a big mistake. Do you know who Violeta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight, if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. And she had a kind of a cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table who nobody but this bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show where he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. Ah, yes, so it would have been him. It would have been Tiger who erupted when he heard that he had won the lottery or something. Because with that, he would be able to pay the Cadavarini family with at least part of the money that he owed. I mean, he was a programmer. Maybe he was well off for all we know, so I don't know. But no, it was already established that he had a loan with the Tiger Man as well, too. Right, didn't he? There is only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you! He's not gonna like it. Witness, what have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry, you's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give yous one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You's got it all wrapped up nice, huh, right? But you's missed out one really important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you's here. What, do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Huh, what a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Tribulations between yourself and the victim? Yeah, I loaned El Cash about $100,000. By the way, that day was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? Yeah. Who wrote that in that magazine that in that newspaper we found behind or is it a sports magazine or whatever it is anyway? A sports paper, yeah, behind the magazine rack in the shop. Maybe it was him. It was maybe the tiger who drew this. Maybe this would come in handy at some point. That day we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, it tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flank the guy when he starts screaming, "Yes, I won! $500,000! He got lucky, you know, real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. Well, so you say. Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000. Yeah, well, you's got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know. That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal. And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? He has to have one, but what is it? Well, he also owes money, right? I don't owe cash, but $100,000. That day was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, it tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flam the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I want $500,000. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. The waitress, you mean? The girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. Ask what what Maggie did. Ask how things would have been. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his lawn, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you just said. Tiger's motive, huh? I was after the $100,000. I didn't have no other reason to kill the guy. Well, what about the CD then? What's that thing about the CD which I found on his desk? There has to be something else. The MC Bomber virus. Where is it, the CD, by the way? Ah, yeah, there it is. Potentially worth $1 million. Hey, yeah, that's actually exactly the amount of money that he owes. Objection! That's exactly the amount of money that he owes. So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elgodu, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. But you owe money yourself too, don't you? So yeah, I could present, which piece was it again? Ah, yeah, this, yeah, payment was due last year. Right, so in December. Yeah, in December. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after. Objection! What are you getting at, Trite? What else would a moneylender be after other than money? Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. What is that? Computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber. A computer virus? What does one of those do? Computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the inside of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? Oh, come on, Your Honor. What century do you live in? I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Several $1 million? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business, but in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to repay the money is crucial. What? Glenn Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of that program? Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, right? A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure is on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. Yep. And with pressure in the likes of the Cadaverini family, yeah, it seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigre need money to the tune of $1 million? In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. How much of this do you know? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million, and yet when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full. $1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue these HMOs. Ha, no one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. But Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Rawr! Order! 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 You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright? Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Viola, I guess. Did you say Cadaverini? Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Bruh! Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire what the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glenn Elg's life to pay your debts. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on the CD. Glenn Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. The lottery win? Exactly, at the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least no legitimate way. So resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glenn Elg and then made his next move. To frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glenn Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one who we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it. He was in on it! Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godo? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000 in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan. Order! Order! Silence or I will clear the... Yeah, right. You put on a good show, Spiky. If yous want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid created the witness and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do? Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution, one more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out. What, another one, Mr. Wright? Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? He posed as me to make sure that she went to jail as fast as possible, so that the case would be closed. What was this trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused? Yeah, I guess that would be the thing. What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation. You were, Judge. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pause as the victim on the day in question. A month ago in this very court, you paused as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright would put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I had ever seen. Grr. How come you didn't recognize him until now? Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man. Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey, forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else. It seems different somehow. Have you no pride, sir?
Objection.
This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court, we deal with people's lives. Mr. Godot is right. Your Honor, speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as a judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it. No! If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. We've come so far! You say he impersonated Glenn Elg, you say he impersonated you, but none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Arrgh! Ha! Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get mauled. You's got that? All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Ha! Looks like I won't be needing a refill. If I just had one more piece of evidence. Yeah, what about Gumshoe? What is he doing? Now would be the perfect time, Gumshoe. Please show up. One more piece of evidence and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. This witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre. Hold it! Who? Who is it? Your Honor, sir. Wait! Ah, finally! You were almost too late. Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, Detective? Isn't obvious, pal. It's the final decisive piece of evidence. What? Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab. The results? About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle. Oh, so do you know who the prints belong to now? You think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. So tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it. You bet. Here's Crystal, all over the bottle. You're free your Tigre's paw prints, alright. That's great, we've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenn Helg's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now. I didn't think of this. Man, great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This was our last chance to help Maggie, and I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Aw, crap. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie, you've been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick? I wish there was. If Mia could show up now, she could help me. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. The victim's ear medicine covered in Furio Tigre's fingerprints. Yes, Your Honor, I grant you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered. Yes. If I have to present something, I don't see what else I could present, but I don't know where this is going. Don't keep us all in suspense. Try to show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. So it has to be the bottle then, otherwise he wouldn't say that. How much more of my time are you gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before, but you lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here, but maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final decisive piece of evidence to the court. Well, it's the bottle, but this is the defense's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victim's? Your Honor, naturally the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What? But Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains, except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that fancy-looking bottle? Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell is in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Oh ho! Mr. Tigre, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains... I think I see where he's going with this. Since I'm allowed to save, I will save, but I don't think I'm wrong with this one. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? The poison used to murder Mr. Elk, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that. What? Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. You's just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No, this is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown and it was made of glass. How would he know? That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it. How would you know that?
Godo sees where this is going. Got him at last. What? Why is everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle with the cyanide was in. But you ain't gotta find my prints on that bottle. None that goes-in looking suit fool you people. That lawyer is just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. Just played himself, yeah. Yeah. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You just don't know who you messing with. I am the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped-up suit get the better of me? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. We unleashed the tiger. So what now? What now? What's going on? It looks like a blackout. Well done, Trite. What's going on? I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Ah, okay. Savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey. Mr. Wright, you caught the tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigray, Mr. Godo? He's being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Glenn Elg, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence, but the tiger made one mistake, indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Furio Tigray is a truly frightening criminal. Ha! The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Kyoto. Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned. January 8th, 4:10 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago, but now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be, shit, I pressed the button too quickly. Wait! Guess I'll be on my way, is that what he said? Detective Gumshoe. Oh yeah. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? Huh? Oh, well, I was. Well, guess I'll be heading out the door or something. Wait up, detective! He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even of any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Maya is right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all of this. I wanted to believe that, sir, but on that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. I didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it. I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Well, it's easy enough. It's that one. Since it's still in my inventory, so a tenderly handmade lunchbox fills the stomach with love and plenty of weenies. Take that! Here you are, a present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe. I actually really like weenies, you know. Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? Ah, finally. So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good. So the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie of all... Ah yeah, shit. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. She ate everything. Now you're hungry? I just had dinner myself. Well, that's gonna be all from me for today, and I'm gonna get started on that one next time. Hey! It's gonna be with that guy, with Miles Edgeworth, that case. Not Godo, he's not gonna show up in that one. A brand new episode has been added. Turnabout Beginnings. Funny watching you interpret a French person speaking English during this case. Well, that's not too hard, I guess. Because I know what kind of accent French people tend to have. And, well, I guess mine can't be all that different, or maybe a bit different, but I know how people in France, especially, who think they can speak English, can sound sometimes. You know that guy, he's a pretty good example of that in the video game industry. Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, for example. Whenever he takes the stage to speak at any event like E3, you just listen to his accent. It's practically the same thing that I've been imitating all along. That guy just can't speak English. But, or Michel Ancel also, for example, the guy who made Rayman. They tend to have that kind of accent when they speak English, so it's not that hard for me to to take inspiration from. It's not just them either, though. But anyway, okay. Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, or Michel Ancel, the producer of the Rayman series and Beyond Good and Evil as well. These two guys, whenever they speak English, you just listen to them speaking English and it's that accent. It's the same. It's the same thing. Well, although they don't sound gay though when they speak. that's the only difference I guess you could draw. Anyway, yeah, I'm done for today. I should be back tomorrow, hopefully, around the same time, hopefully. And I will be getting started on the 4th case, then on episode 4, Turnabout Beginnings, when it comes to that. So, see you guys, and take care until then. Bye-bye.